Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're taking on a boss that I personally find very challenging, the Leviathan. Now this boss is a real test of your movement and prayer skills, but with the right strategy, which I am going to show you in this video, you can conquer it and reap the rewards. Now I've got some great tips near the end of this video that are definitely worth learning, so make sure you stick around. Since this boss is from Desert Treasure 2, you'll need to have DT2 completed. I'd also recommend having 90 plus range, 90 plus defense, 74 plus prayer, and having rigor unlocked will make an absolutely huge difference because this is a range only boss. Now this is optional, but also having a high agility level, like level 75 plus, will negate the need or definitely reduce the need for stamina potions in this fight. For once, the best in slot is actually the Bow of Ferdinand in crystal armor, not the twisted bow. Technically, the Zerite crossbow is best in slot against Leviathan until it reaches around 440 hit points, but only if using fortified Masori armor, a twisted buckler, and ruby dragon bolts enchanted because of the ruby bolt procs. If you're not bringing these swaps, then the Bow of Ferdinand is stronger overall. I'd also bring an Anguish, Assembler, and Barrow's Gloves, but if you do have Zerite Vambraces or even a Quiver, bring those as upgrades instead. Now the Lightbearer is the ring of choice here, even over the Venator ring, because you'll either be using a ZCB, Zerite Crossbow, or a Webweaver Bow spec every kill, so having that fast spec regen is key for this fight. In your inventory, pack a one-click teleport, 4 prayer or super restore potions, a ranging potion, a few anglerfish, a stamina if you have low agility, a rune pouch with runes to cast Shadow Rush, that being death, chaos, soul, and air runes, and a ring of shadows for getting to the boss. A Webweaver bow is an absolutely incredible spec weapon here, but if you don't have one, then consider bringing dragon knives, as they also hit multiple times per attack and can quickly KO the boss in the enraged phase. The rest of your inventory can be filled with combo eats like Shark and Karam 1. As with most bosses, I'd recommend having the ground markers plugin enabled on RuneLite. You can import the ground markers for this boss by copying the text in this video's description, right-clicking the world map, and selecting import ground markers. I'd also recommend having the true tile option checked in the tile indicators plugin, so you can see your character's exact position in game. Okay, let's talk about the Leviathan's mechanics. The Leviathan will attack with a volley of rapid-firing mage, range, and melee orbs. Like most other bosses, these orbs are colored according to the combat style. Orange is melee, green is range, and blue is mage. Prayer will fully negate the damage of these orbs, so it's essential to pray accordingly. Now, after each volley of orbs, the Leviathan will roar, causing some chip damage to your player and boulders to fall around the arena. Do note that the Leviathan can also perform a melee attack if you're directly adjacent to the boss. This mostly applies to the enraged phase at the end of the fight though. Now here's a huge tip. After the first volley of attacks, take a close look at where the boulders fell. 1 will fall on your current tile. However, 2 will fall either north and south of the boss or east and west of the boss. The locations of these boulders indicate which of the Leviathan's special attacks will occur first. If the debris lands to the east and west of the boss, he'll start with the Lightning Barrage special attack. Otherwise, if they land to the north or south side of him, he'll be using Smoke Blast. Like Vorkath, the Leviathan will alternate between special attacks for the duration of the fight. We'll get to discussing the special attacks in detail a little later on. Now here's where the Leviathan gets tricky. After each volley of orb attacks, the Leviathan will increase the intensity in this order. The first volley will have attacks every 3 ticks with magic and ranged. Next, it'll be attacks every 2 ticks. Then 2 ticks in all 3 styles, ranged, mage, and melee. Then 1 tick with mage range, 1 tick with all 3 styles, all 3 styles with 2 tick projectile time, and then finally all 3 styles with 1 tick projectile time. If you can survive all of these onslaughts of attacks, then, well, why are you watching this video? For us lowly noobs, there is an option. At any point in between or during a volley of attacks, we can hit the Leviathan with a shadow spell, which will stun it for 9 seconds. We can then run around its back and hit the Leviathan in its weak spot, dealing a guaranteed max hit to it and causing it to retaliate with one of its special attacks. Remember when I said pay attention to where those boulders fell after the first volley? Well, this is why. If you are paying attention, you'll know which special attack is going to occur after you stunned the Leviathan. So let's cover each special attack in detail. For the Smoke Blast special attack, the Leviathan will spit out 10 boulders at your character's current location before launching a Smoke Blast that covers the entire arena. Your job is to arrange the boulders such that you can stand behind them to avoid the Smoke Blast without trapping your player. The boulders become immovable objects once launched, therefore you can't shoot while behind a boulder, your character has to path around the boulders for the rest of the fight, and you can trap your player with the boulders, which is basically a teleport and reset kind of mistake. This is where these black tile markers come into play. Choose a set of black tiles, preferably ones close to your player. Start at the tile labeled number 1 and walk one tile at a time until you get to the end of the row. Then you'll make a U-turn to finish off the set of black tiles. Now, if done correctly, you'll notice that every tile has a boulder on it, none of the boulders trap your character, and as you finish your walk, you're on a safe tile from the Smoke Blast. For Leviathan's second special attack, he'll barrage you with lightning, doing roughly 20 damage each time it hits you. You can avoid this by running in a tight circle around the Leviathan until the attack ends. However, if you're a true gamer, you'll use this opportunity to do additional DPS on the boss, even though he takes 33% less damage during these special attack phases. To perform the lightning walk, start on this tile and wait until the Leviathan is facing north. Move to the corner tile and attack. Now you're in cycle. Move between this tile, I'll call it the attack tile, and the corner tile while attacking every 4 ticks. If you mess up, just keep moving between the 2 tiles that I outlined. You may take some damage here, but the cycle will eventually correct itself. If you're using a 5-tick weapon like a ZCB or crossbow, simply modify the attack tile to be the corner tile on the other side of the Leviathan, basically just giving your player 1 more tick to cool down after your attack. Finally, let's talk about the enraged phase. At 180 HP, the Leviathan will enter its final phase. A set of white orbs called the Abyssal Pathfinder will appear in the northwest corner of the arena if it is not blocked by boulders. You want to be standing in these white orbs because it prevents chip damage from the Leviathan's attacks, and it provides an accuracy buff where players will always hit for at least 20% of their maximum damage. This means that the Webweaver Bow's spec can literally end this phase in 1 or 2 special attacks if you're standing within range of the Abyssal Pathfinder. So basically, stand by the white orbs and dump your specs. If this phase drags on, it will likely kill you because it is really difficult to avoid falling boulders, pray against the Leviathan's attacks that are constantly changing, keep up with the Abyssal Pathfinder, and manage to attack the boss at the same time while trying to heal up from damage that you may or may not have taken. Now, there are a few tips that I have for this phase. 1, if you can, when the Leviathan is around 200 HP, stun him from the southeast corner. His weak spot will be facing the northwest corner, so when you get your guaranteed max hit on it, it will drop him below 180 health and you'll be positioned directly on top of the Abyssal Pathfinder for a hopefully quick and painless enrage phase. Because of the first tip I gave, I will generally start the fight from the southwestern corner, stun once the orbs start coming in at 1-tick intervals, handle the Leviathan special in the northeastern corner, move towards the southeastern corner to get it below 200 HP, and then do 1 more stun to proc the enrage phase and finish the fight. Speaking of the enrage phase, the Abyssal Pathfinder's true tile is actually in front of the model you see in the game. So try and stay in front of those white orbs rather than on top of them so you have more time in the Pathfinder to dump your specs. If the Abyssal Pathfinder doesn't have enough room to spawn in the northwest corner, it'll spawn in the northeast corner instead, which can throw off your plans for the enrage phase. So try and avoid placing boulders in the northeast corner of the arena if you can. Well, that's it for my Leviathan guide. With practice and the right gear, you'll be able to defeat this formidable foe. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more old school RuneScape content. I've been streaming on Twitch, so if you see me, feel free to stop by and say hello. I also wanted to plug in my Discord here, which I've been curating to help players with the entry mode Theater of Blood for the Night at the Theater quest. If you're struggling with the quest, then check out the Discord. I'm always helping players complete the quest if they need it. Thanks for watching, and good luck on your Leviathan.